Good morning, dear students. Hope you are listening all the classes well. As we are at the end of the unit, that means the distribution system, the distribution of water, where we have seen methods of distribution or else methods of water supply. And we have seen the layouts of distribution system. Once water is being supplied, there is, or else there should be a sound knowledge on pipes, what we discussed, types of pipes and their lifespan. And we discussed about the joints and the factors to be considered while selecting joints we discussed. And also we have discussed about the valves. All these must be in your mind. Types of valves, the sluice valves, check valves, score valves, air relief valves, all you must remember and try to practice the diagrams from the beginning onwards. I'm speaking to you. Learn the diagrams. Then I'm sure that you'll get good score in this subject. See, in the previous class, we have seen the distribution system. How the water will be supplied. And what is the layout? What are the layouts? We have seen. Today, I'd like to discuss the topic on water meters. Our topic, today's topic is water meter. So far, you may be heard and this word is familiar to you. Of course, the word meter is very much familiar to you than these water meters. Because every month, the power bill comes to, power bill. The same way, because as the power is being measured and we need to pay the amount. In the same way, here a topic is there in your curriculum, that is water meter. Exactly what is the need of this meter that we are discussing now? It is a device. It is a device to quantify. It is a device to quantify the amount of water that is flowed from the pipes are called as water meters. The device meant to quantify, which is the device which is meant to quantify the amount of water that is being supplied. Yes, that is being consumed. And one more thing is, these are meant for quantifying the amount of water that is distributed to the individual houses, industries, and public buildings, etc. See here, the device meant to quantify the amount of water, first of all. And these are meant for quantifying of water in the areas for both individual houses, industries, and public buildings also. Now, as we are quantifying the water at various capacities, maybe individual houses, industries, and public buildings, what are the basic requirements that a good meter has to have? The first thing is, they should not resist the flow of water in the pipes. First thing is, they should not resist the flow of water in the pipes. First thing. And they should be available cheap, and they should be available at economically, they should be available at a minimum cost, and even they should note down the minimum amount of water that is being supplied or that is being leakage, or that is being observed as leakage. And all the parts by which the meter is made has to be non-corrosive alloy, has to be made up by non-corrosive alloy. One more thing is they should be equipped with the screens. They should be equipped, they should be see here equipped with, see here what happening here. The device meant to quantify the amount of water that is flowed from the pipes are called as water meters. Of course, sorry. See here, all the parts must be made up with non-corrosive alloy, and they should be equipped with screens to avoid entry of organic materials like slit, grit, etc. And it should be easy to repair and easy to maintain, and they should give the accurate and reliable readings. See, if the parts are not made up with corrosive oil, there is a chance of rustage. There is a chance for rust, no? And the device may not be up to mark. And one more thing is they should avoid the entry of the fine organic particles or entry of any organic particles like slit, grit, etc. And they should be easy to repair and maintenance, and they should give the accurate and reliable readings. These are, and one more thing is, apart from these things, advantages of metering, associated topic. What are the uses and what are the benefits? The first thing is the wastage of water will be reduced, and the payment is only for the amount whatever the consumer has utilized. And even we can go for analysis section wise, area wise, how much of water is being utilized every day or else as at frequent intervals. One thing is wastage of water will be reduced, and the payment can be done only whatever the amount they utilize, and the location wise analysis can also be done easily. And the disadvantages of metering. What are the disadvantages of metering here? The installation of pipes along with maintenance of meters, one is cost effect, and the other one is as the water is being charged, some people may not utilize the required quantity of water. Similarly, the way we used to observe at certain areas, certain places, at certain instances where the people use very less power and power consumption because of the charges that may impose on consumption of power. Similar case here, because of the charges, certain people may not utilize the required quantity of water, which leads to improper sanitary conditions. And one more thing is, if the meters are defective and for repairing is in a cost effective, and if the meter are not working properly, even the amount that the customer has to pay, customer end is high, or else the amount supposed to be paid by the customer will be high if the meters are not working. That's what I mentioned. There is a chance of arising problems to quantify the exact amount of water that is utilized. See, one more thing is, see, water meters, the devices meant to quantify the amount of water that is being supplied from the pipes is called as water meter. And these are meant for quantifying the water at all the capacities, maybe at all the areas, individual houses, industries, and all public buildings, etc. The selected meter must be all the parts of the meter has to be made up with non-corrosive. That means non-corrosive alloy, and they should maintain screens to avoid the entry of slit, grit, and any other fine particles. If they enters, the meter may get spoiled. And they must be easy to repair, and they must give accurate readings, whatever the consumer utilize. And they should be available at cheap cost, and they should be in such a in such a way they can count even the small and minimum amount of water that is passing through the pipelines, even the small amount of water that is wasted in the name of leakage. Advantages: the wastage of water will be reduced. Just now we discussed the payment will be done only whatever the amount they utilize, and location wise analysis with respect to water consumption can be easily identified. And disadvantages: cost FR and mere quantity of required quantity of water may not be utilized sometimes by the people, and which leads to improper sanitary conditions. And it is cost effective. If the meters are if the meters are not working well, sometimes it may be cost effective, and if the meters are not working, sometimes there is a chance of arising problems where the customer has to pay extra amount, or else where the customer may not pay exact amount of water that what the consumer has utilized. Display, see here I have just given one particular type of meter. There are different types of meters. I just given one type of meter here, one of the example. Displacement type meter. Here, these are used to measuring small flows of water. And displacement principle is where the rate of flow is calculated automatically. And see here, this is one of the example. It calculates both the water that is entering through the pipeline. See here, when the water entered, it's the best example of our displacement meter, in which water enters through inlet and comes out from outlet. And automatically automatically this meter calculate the rate of flow. See, the first point is the design on displacement principle. And which principle they are designed? They design on the principle where the rate of flow is calculated automatically. In this type, the water enters through the inlet and comes out from outlet. This is one of the type example I just given, displacement of meters. Okay, and here hydrants. The next topic is hydrants. What is hydrant here? Hydrants, maybe have a look over here, then you can understand. These are the hydrants. These are the hydrants. Force hydrant and flush hydrant. Now, what are these hydrants? These are most important in water supply system, and they are used to tap water, or as tapping water from mains, especially during the fire accident, street washing, wearing of gardens, flushing sewer lines, and many purposes will be fulfilled with these hydrants. These are most useful and these are most important in water supply. They used to keep at the side of the roads to fulfill the various requirements, like to meet the requirement during fires and gardening, during street washing, and all those times water will be taken from these hydrants. Normally, for every 100 to 130 meters along the roadside, these hydrants will be fixed. At what distance? 100 to 130 meters. And with the help of engineers, the required pressure will be maintained, especially when the water is being used as a fire extinguisher. If the hydrant is being used, or else if the hydrant is fixed in order to control the fire, the engineers will give the suggestions to maintain sufficient pressure. For big cities and large towns, the requirement of water pressure is up to 100. See, and they must be designed to withstand the pressure. See here, I just given here, there are two specifications in the hydrants itself. The first thing is, these are most important water supply. And for every 100 to 130 meters long, there will be these hydrants. And required pressure has to be maintained in the hydrants, and care must be taken to maintain required pressure when the hydrants are being used for fire extinguishers. See here, generally to control the fire, the pressure that is required is as follows. I just mentioned in this point, the engineer has to give and has to maintain required pressure when the hydrant is being utilized for fire extinguisher. See here, 7 to 14 meters head will be maintained when the pumps are used. And same 35 to 50 meters of head has to be maintained while designing those pipelines without pumps. If the pumps are used, the head will be 70 to 14 meters head. And if the pumps without pumps, the head has to be maintained 35 to 50 meters head in order to maintain required pressure in the hydrants. Then they will be used successfully. They will be used at a good success rate to control or to fulfill the requirements. Now here, what are the requirements for good hydrant here? Sufficient quantity of water must be available, and they must be easily connectable, and they must be easily detectable. For connecting or for to get the connection, it takes large time, it takes much time. If it is for fire accident is for to control the fire, to fix the water or else to fix the pipe to the hydrant, if it takes large time, it takes much time, huge damage may be absorbed. If the hydrant is using to control the fire, in such cases, to fix the pipes with the hydrants takes much time. There will be the fire damage will be more. That is the reason they should be easily connectable, and they should be easily detachable also. Detachable and should not go out of order during the fire operations, especially. See here, there are two types. I just given base information. Flush hydrant. The figure shows flush hydrant. It must be positioned in an underground brick chamber covered by cast iron. There should be clear identification to locate even in darkness. Next one is post hydrant. The barrel of the hydrant will be fixed at the height of 60 to 90 centimeters of the ground surface. And these are used at strategic points to facilitate supply of water with great pressure to control fire. Post hydrants and flush hydrants. Requirement of good, easily connectable, easily detachable, and sufficient quantity has to be maintained, has to be available to draw whenever in need. Hydrants are meant to control, to facilitate the, to facilitate the water requirement in the areas of flushing sewer lines, watering of gardens, fire accidents, in all those areas. As in a water source, they will be fixed along the roadside, and preferably for every 100 to 130 meters, they will be fixed, and required pressure will be maintained, and most probably 70 to 14 minutes of head will be maintained when the pumps are used. If the pumps are not used, or as pipelines without pumps, the head will be 35 to 50 meters head. This is about hydrants. And today's topic is water meters and hydrants. Water meters are meant to quantify the water concentration, amount of the water that is supplied or else that is consumed by consumer. Requirements: non-corrosive, should be available at minimum cost, and should be detectable even the small leakages. Should be quantified small amount of leakages or a small amount of water that is supplied through the pipelines. And they should have the screeners to avoid the entry of slit and grit, easy to repair, and they must give the accurate and reliable readings. Advantages: wastage will be reduced, payment will be done only for the utilized water, and location-wise analysis can be done with respect to water consumption. Disadvantages: it is cost affair. Sometimes a consumer may not use the required quantity of water, which leads to insanitary conditions. Improper sanitary conditions. If the meter is defective, it is cost affair. If meter is not working, there is a chance of arising problems to quantify the exact amount of water that is utilized by consumer. This is one type of meter, displacement meter, which is working on a principle where the rate of flow is calculated automatically. It has inlet and outlet, and the entry of water will be calculated by meter, and the water comes out from outlet. This is one of the example of the displacement meter. Hope you understood today's topic, water meters and hydrants. Okay. If you have any doubts, please contact me either phone, message, or mail. So far, we discussed with respect to pipes. Keep in mind, we have discussed joints, we have discussed walls, we discussed types of pipes, and we discussed about the layouts of distribution system. We finished the methods of water supply system, and we are in the topic water meters and hydrants. With respect to water supply, we discussed many topics, and in the next class, we'll discuss the other topic which is associated or which is connected to the distribution system. I'm clearly insisting, please try to make sure, or please make sure to learn all the diagrams and practice the diagrams. I'm sure that you'll get good marks in this subject. Okay, thank you.